Shannon, can Dak and the Cowboys be trusted to win a big game, especially on the road?
Concerns that I've always had about him. And then when we try to point that out, you remember a couple of years ago, Dio and Stephen A., Dak threw like 35, 36 touchdowns, only had 10 interceptions. And they said, well, this is a different team. And he gets to the playoff, and the San Francisco bounce him. And we've seen this in his rookie season, have this great year, and they get bounced in the divisional round. So the concerns that I've had all along are still there. There was conversation about Dak being a game manager. I saw Dak win a game against the Seattle Seahawks at home because his defense did not have it that day. And they got into a shootout, and Dak had to be great, and he was. But I also saw yesterday when the team needed him to put them on their back because they have been unable to run the ball effectively and efficiently all year, and it was nothing. And they're right. There's too big a disparity between home and a road in order for you to take this team as a serious Super Bowl contender. I don't believe they can go on the road, and because the only thing that's concerning to them are the 49ers. I don't believe they can beat the 49ers in San Francisco. I believe the 49ers can go on the road, they can go on the moon, they can go to Neptune and beat any other football team. But my concerns for the Cowboys is their inability to run the football and their inability to stop the run. Because yesterday was about, you know what it is? Stephen A., you've heard me say this before. Running the football is an attitude. Because you said, I'm going to move a man against his will. You see, in the passing game, D.O., we can get exotic. We can stack the formation. We can motion the formation. But when one man puts his hand in the dirt and another man puts his hand in the dirt and he says, you've got to leave this plot of land, and the Cowboys says, we're not going anywhere. And the Buffalo Bills offensive line said, the hell you say, and James Cook was going up and down the field. 7 completions, 90 yards. And you couldn't stop the run when you know it was coming? Yes, I have the same concerns that I've had for the Cowboys for the last 5 years.
Floor's yours, Dan. Go ahead.
We don't have any evidence that this team could go on the road and win a big game. At home, sure. At home, absolutely. The last 5 times that the Cowboys have had to go on the road and play a team with a winning record, they're 0-5. The average score of those games is 32-18. It's a completely different football team. There's no evidence that I could sit here and say, this is what Buffalo did. Buffalo, this wasn't exotic. They ran like 3 plays, Shannon. Buffalo lined up and said, hey, you're too little and we're too big. And if you want to continue to play little, go at it. But they ran, number 1, Micah, you're not going to ruin the game. We're not going to ruin the game. That happened. Number 2, you're number 14 and number 33, Damone Clark and Marquise Bell, who have been really good this year, certainly when it comes to their speed and athleticism. You guys are going to have an 100-pound disadvantage when it comes to stopping the run. Dan Quinn never adjusted. I think, if anything, today is a Dan Quinn has questions to be answered day. He's a tremendous coach, knows more football than most people on planet Earth. Never adjusted. Completely outcoached by Joe Brady. And then if you look at this offense, and if I told you the one thing that showed up for Dallas's offense yesterday, when they don't know exactly what the defense is doing because they get to line of scrimmage and get to go hot, and try to know exactly what they're in, they play with a little bit of doubt. They play with a little question. Dak did not play good, but he's far from the reason why that they lost this football game. But this was an identity thing for Dallas. And to go on the road and to get whooped like this physically and completely no show, I have no evidence that if they have to go on the road, could play good in one game, let alone having to do it 3 times in the playoffs.
Nobody's wrong. But I'll look at you, Dan Orlovsky, and I'll say, is that all you got? Is that all you got? You really, really think that I'm going to sit up there and let the American people sit there and listen to that football drivel you just threw out there? Now, I know you're accurate. You understand? But what you're not taking into account is the totality of the moment, okay? I mean, my man Shay tried to do it. I'm going to do it for you, Shannon. I'm going to do it for you.
I'm circling back. I want you to have your opportunity. I'm going to circle back.
I got you. They bullies. They bullies. And every time they run up against somebody their own size, they get punked. This is what happened. This is what happened. Okay, this ain't the Giants, 2 games. This ain't the Commanders. This ain't the Carolina Panthers. This ain't the last place New England Patriots. Oh, no, 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 no. What happened is they ran up against a team that said, we going to keep it simple. We're talking about a guy in Josh Allen that completed 7 passes. We're talking about a guy in Josh Allen, an MVP candidate in your eyes, okay, that didn't throw for 100 yards. And guess why? Because he didn't have to. That's why. He didn't have to. What we going to do is we going to run the ball. You understand what I'm saying? We going to line the Shannon Sharpes of the world up against Stephen A. on the front line. And we all know I ain't got no chance. I ain't got no damn chance. That's like me getting a weightlifting contest with Shay. It ain't going to work. You understand what I'm saying? This is what they did. They said, Michael Parsons, you want to rush the quarterback. You want to rush the quarterback. Well, how you going to feel when we employ this running game and we keep coming right at you? What you going to have? When's the last time you see Michael Parsons breathing like that? He's a bit tired. He's a bit tired. He's a bit weird. And by the way, speaking of DeMarcus Lawrence, before I get into him and his roughing the passer self, giving you a touchdown when you were about to score a field goal on the first possession, what I'd be remiss, Club Shay, in negating to bring up DeMarcus Lawrence. Could you play the sound the last time we heard him talking? Could you play that for me, please? Just play it for the audience.
Hit a mother in the face over and over and over and over again until they quit. And when they quit, hit them again and again and again and again.
Didn't I tell y'all? Didn't I tell them to keep that same energy? Ain't that what I said?
You
I
told
said
you
keep the
said
same energy.
You said keep that.
Please keep the same intensity. Keep the same intensity. Don't lose the intensity. Keep the same intensity. That's what I said. And sure enough, you roll up to Western New York, and what happened? You got a bunch of brothers just waiting for you. They're saying, we ain't going to be pretty. This ain't Dorsey now. This is Brady running this offense. Not Tom, Joe. Not Tom, Joe. We going to run this offense. We going to run it down your throat. We going to beat you down. And that's what they did. I sit here with a smile on my face because I was talking about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys because I'm talking about prosperity. See, they're allergic to it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, when you call them the underdogs and you talk about them like we talking about them now, oh, they'll show up. But when you place expectations on them, they don't answer.
Yeah.
And this is the latest example of it.
Why are the fans so emotional?
This is the latest example of it. The
But
fans,
if you,
they're so
it's beautiful. Did you see Shannon? Did you see how miserable the fans were?
yeah, they're mad. They get mad. They get mad at us for telling them the truth.
That's right.
Because if you look at this, when we put that graphic on the screen, look at the home and the takeaways, and look how the defense get after you. Now look at them on the road. Now all of a sudden, instead of Michael Parsons swimming and getting upfield, he has to go square to square with a man. And those tight ends and those guards was doing a number on him, doing a number on D-Law, doing a number on Ziggy Dua, Ziggy 97, or Diggy Zua. They were doing a number on him. So what happens when you can't pin your ears back and you have to look a man in his eye, and he's putting his helmet in your chest? Look at this. Nobody touched him. Michael Parsons chasing the man like Rerun was running behind that truck, and what's happening? Is anybody going to touch him? If anybody, the man's in the circus. He's a tumbler with Linda. Look at him. Come on, Cowboys. All y'all do, and everybody they writing, this team looks different. This is a very close team. All I know is that star still as bright as it was last week. Are they not as close as they were last week? I need to know what's going on. I need to know because everybody got a whole lot to say when things are going well.
That's right.
But I ain't hear no sound bites yesterday.
No.
I didn't hear no catchy phrases. I didn't hear this team. Where's Jerry? Jerry said, this is one of the proudest moments I've ever had. What did he say yesterday? Everybody running their mouths when things are going well. I need to see when things are not going well. Do you still have that same energy? Can you go out there? Don't put your head down. I want Dak dressed like he was last week. You remember he came in there last week, Stephen A?
That's right.
He had a nice suit. We go to the same.
Here's my
nice gold chain. And now all of a sudden, everybody got on sweatsuits. Everybody got on hoodies.
That's right.
Well, I can't put my finger on it. It's a disparity between road and home. No!
Well,
stand up there and talk like you did before.
At least Micah Parsons was real with it, though. He was like, man, I don't know how to explain this.
I can tell. I can explain it for Micah.
Explain it. They're putting up 18 points fewer on the road. Why?
offensively, what this offense is about is getting to the line of scrimmage. Dak is incredibly smart. He goes through his cadence, and he gets a tell about what the defense is in. Can't do that on the road as well. So if you watch the game, Buffalo, all they did was Buffalo change things at the snap. They showed you one thing, Shannon, they changed to another thing. That threw off the rhythm and timing of this offense. We've raved about Dak. We've raved about Mike McCarthy this year, rightfully so. Timing and rhythm. So when you change things like that, quarterbacks play with a little bit of doubt. They play with a little bit of cloudiness. That's number one. Number two, I've said this since last year. When you take Micah Parsons out of the game, this defense is a completely different unit.
Make him play the run. You got to make him play the run.
He's the game wrecker. Philadelphia showed you the blueprint last year multiple times. You don't block them. San Francisco showed you the blueprint. You don't block them. Buffalo multiple times yesterday just did not block him. They put him in conflict. And then he's left hanging. They ran away from him all game long. Ran right at Marquise Bell all game. For me, this is Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn never adjusted, never had an answer.
You mean the same Dan Quinn that was a head coach in the Super Bowl and they were
He's a great coach.
Was up 28-3 and wouldn't run the ball at that particular moment in time because he wanted to pass.
And Stephen A,
giving Brady time to come back. You mean that Dan Quinn?
San Francisco, they know the blueprint. Philadelphia, if they're disciplined, to your point, they know the blueprint. Detroit, they know. I'm telling you, the Los Angeles Rams know how to do it as well. Yeah, this is not like some, we'll be fine, Dallas. This is a situation where you have to be honest about how teams can beat you.
Go ahead, Trent.
But you do understand, guys, when you go on the road, your playbook gets condensed because you can't hear and you can't make all those checks. So you're going to limit the amount of checks you have on the road compared to when you're at home. So when they're at home and they can control the crowd noise, now I can get into run. I can check out of a run into a pass. I can check out of a pass into a run. But when you go on the road with crowd noise, you really have to be simplistic in your approach and you have to believe that I have the type of team. When I was with the Broncos in the late 90s, we didn't have we got two checks. We're going to get out of a run and we're going to toss it or we're going to hand it off to TD. Stop it.
Yeah.
Is it really that simple? Stop it. We're not going to get all that exotic and let you hit our quarterback in the back of the head because somebody missed a check. We're not going to do all that because somebody blown an assignment. We're going to line up, we're going to hand off weak, or we're going to toss it strong to TD. Now stop it. But the Cowboys, and when that defense, guess what? When that defense can't wreck shop, when they can't get 4 or 5 sacks in the game, when they can't turn you over and put Dak on the short field, DeRon Bland ain't getting pick sixes, and they're not getting scooping scores. How they look, D.O., on the road when they can't do those things?
Let me answer this, though. Let me say a couple of things. Number one, even though they got obliterated, I don't even look that much at Dak from yesterday's loss. No. I look at the defense that was getting ramrodded and pushed around, and Buffalo was marching up and down the field, chewing up time of possession, et cetera, et cetera. I look at it from that perspective. I also look at it from this. Again, we're talking about a Dallas Cowboy team, and I'm not joking here. When I talk about allergic to prosperity, I mean it, and here's the reason why. Because you knew that the division, even though the Eagles could win out and they would have won the division, the fact of the matter is you would have put pressure on the Philadelphia Eagles to have to win every single game. You knew that coming into this game. You go on the road, and what happens? This is how you get beat. And so for me, I'm looking at it from the standpoint those expectations were something they couldn't answer the call to. You missed Ezekiel Elliott from the standpoint that once upon a time, you had a bell cow at the running back spot that could run the football themselves, not just somebody that was relying on speed and elusivity, but strength, being a bell cow. You didn't have that. And last but not least, they talked about Dak Prescott and how you give him an abundance of plays. I heard you and Rex talking about it on Get Up. You give him an abundance of plays. He goes to the line of scrimmage. He purviews the landscape, and he says, yo, okay, this is what I think we should go with. Right. On the road, that's not easier, which means he needs help. That help has to come from Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, once upon a time, we looked at it and we said, yo, even Aaron Rodgers was questioned whether or not he was archaic. All of a sudden, we ignored those things for all of these months, and now it's come back to the light.